All right, everyone, welcome to episode 12 of the Base-12 book club, where I'm introducing and going over this book here called Understanding Base-12 Math, How to Draw the Perfect Circle Using Dozonal Geometry. So in this book, I'm talking about what is dozonal geometry. It's geometry based upon or built upon the structure of the base-12 Cartesian plane. So I explained to you what the difference is between the base-10 and base-12 Cartesian planes, and I introduced to you a geometric pattern that isn't able to exist on the base-10 Cartesian plane. So it's a pattern that we've completely missed. I introduced it to you on the base-12 Cartesian plane, and I show you how to divide the circle perfectly into 360 degrees using this basically new or recently discovered base-12 geometric pattern. So that's something that we can't do in base-10. That's why it's a big deal. And the geometry of 360 degrees in base-12 is actually linked to the base-12 version of pi. The diagram is literally built by dividing the diameter of a circle into its circumference, and when we do that, we do it in such a way that the empty space that's always left over when you're doing that equation, that basically is the reason that irrational numbers have the quality that they do of going on forever with always that sort of unresolved final little bit of empty space. We are able to do that with that empty space, instead of just being allocated to one small section, one very, very, very tiny section of the circumference of the circle. We disperse that empty space throughout the circumference of the circle, thereby creating a model that is more in tune, or that more naturally reflects the actual universe that we live in, the fact that the physical matter that builds our universe, that all the physical things, when we look around us, everything that's made in the world, in the universe, has an element of empty space when you get into the very, very small, inside of atoms, inside of protons, neutrons, all these very tiny quantum characteristics or qualities of the universe. There's empty space in there. And so this base-12 geometric pattern for the circumference of the circle in 360 degrees offers us a model of the circumference of the circle, which then reflects better a model of the physical universe that we live in. So the conclusion is that the base-12 mathematics more accurately reflects the world we live in, and actually base-12 math emerges from the physical structure of the universe. So this is actually a controversial statement. I think the majority of people currently believe that math is a tool that we have created, sort of invented, in the sense that we then apply to the physical universe to measure its various components. But in reality, math emerges from the physics of the universe, and it has a base already in there. It's base-12, and the base emerges in the relationship or the ratio between the bits and pieces that make up the universe to the empty space within it. Those are two different things, and that's where the version of that's what pi actually is the ratio between these two things. You could call it the energy of the universe and the space in which those quantum bits of energy exist and are interacting with each other. So one of the big questions that needs to be answered within math is math at its base, is the number line continuous or discrete? And by discrete, do we mean is it individual sections with some space between them? And if we say yes, then we need to define what the length of those sections are and what's the gap between them. So that's something that seems, it could be arbitrary, but in base-12 we realize that it's very easy to come up with a dotted line, so to speak, that has a built-in ratio, and it has to do with the circumference of the circle. So all that information is available within my book. Again, this is what it looks like. You can buy it on Amazon, and you will have the ability to look at the geometric pattern that enables us to divide the circle into 360 degrees. And you can see the base-12 version of pi. And this version of pi has patterns in it. You can see the numbers. If you look down the side of that number here, you can see it's progressing, 1, 2, 3, 4. But there's a couple of spots where there's double numbers. And this pattern, this progression from 0, 1, 2, 3, all the way back to 0 again, one unit is within all the columns, have that number kind of weaving between. So it's a really interesting pattern that emerges, and you can have access to that pattern, look at it, start to try to figure out what it means by buying the book. So I encourage you to buy the book, get it for yourself for Christmas. And speaking of Christmas, I got some surprises for you. We have merchandise available. So I've set up another website. It's called ericlarsonart.com. This is what it looks like here. So that's me, Eric Larson, and this is a website that's dedicated to some of my art, but more importantly to merchandise that's related to the base 12 geometry that I'm talking about. So if you go there, you'll find that there's a lot of products, sweatshirts and t-shirts and notebooks and slippers and pillowcases and all kinds of stuff that it has an element of base 12 or dozenal geometry, dozenal math incorporated in the design. So it's something you can wear and go out, and people will ask you, hey, what's with this cool t-shirt you got going there with this 5 √ 2 and 7 + 5 = 10, or different funny math on it, sort of funny, but it's in base 12. It's something to get the conversation going, and it's all really interesting geometry, and it will help to support me in this work to get the message that base 12 is the math of the universe out there. So we want to basically keep going with this information, keep getting it out there. I want to encourage everybody to explore base 12 some more, start to make some new discoveries, not just pi, but all kinds of stuff is there waiting. I'm doing my best to explore all this as much as possible and to share with you what I'm discovering, but it's a big job, and I'm looking forward to having more people on board to help disseminate this information. So that's where you come in. You can go to my website, buy some merchandise, talk to your friends, share what you're finding in the book, buy the book, all that stuff. There's a lot of good information in there. I also lead into what the implications are for physics, subjects like dark matter and figuring out, infinity. These are all topics that relate to base 12 math, base 12 geometry, dozenal geometry. Okay, so again, we're keeping these videos short, so thanks for watching, and I look forward to seeing you in my future videos. Take care.